Hello? I can see you. Can you see me?
Yep, I can see you.
Okay, I hear you now too.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I just got off another video.
Yeah, story of our
And
lives.
yeah, our new life, living with Zoom.
So I think the way this one's gonna work is I'm gonna mute myself and my screen will go off, but it'll be you, Martha, Erin, Sherry, and Amy will be asking the questions.
Right.
And then everybody else that comes on we won't see them or hear them. They can just click at the bottom if they want to ask questions or whatever.
Okay. Cool.
But we did a trial run last night and it went well. So
yeah, we've been meeting. My team has been meeting with Zoom and Microsoft Teams. I kind of like Zoom better because you get to see everybody.
okay.
Microsoft Teams, you only can see 4.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, they'll click in and out depending on who's talking.
yeah.
But you can only see 4 at a time. I do not know how many you can see. Yesterday we did Zoom and there were 6 of us, and we could see all 6 of us.
I've seen where people can really put a lot of screens, especially if you're using a computer. I've been using my phone. Hold on a second. Amy Canterbury's calling me.
Okay, go for it.
Yes, ma'am. Hi. Go ahead. I'm listening. Mm-hmm. Mary, was there a password in your email?
There was, and that password was, I'm looking.
Okay.
Password 571275.
Okay. Yeah, it's the same.
But I didn't need to use it.
You didn't need to use it? Oh, that's
no,
interesting.
I just clicked on it and it went.
Okay.
Got my Zoom account, so maybe that, I don't know. I just clicked on it and it joined.
Okay. I don't know. Hers was in her email. I don't know. Maybe I changed it. I have no idea. But anyway, you ready to write it down? 571275. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Oh, there's Karen Silva. She's saying hi.
Yay, I don't see her. Where'd she go?
Well, she can hear us. We can't
Okay.
hear or see her. So in the chat, she said hi.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, I'm pulling up a report that I want to have access to today.
Okay. It's good to see you too, Karen. Well, we can't see you, but you know what I mean.
But it's still good to know that you're there.
It's good to know you're there, yeah.
Where are you? Ah, there we go.
So welcome everybody. This is our very first AFP virtual program via Zoom. This is new to all of us, as we were just saying, so bear with us. You might hear a dog in the background or someone may get muted out. We don't know how it's gonna go, but we're all gonna just kind of roll with the punches, if you will. You probably saw my yoga pants a second ago. So like I said, this is a unique situation to all of us. Today's topic is donor communication amid COVID-19. And as you know, this is all uncharted territory for all of us. No matter how experienced you are in fundraising, no one has experienced this before. And so we wanted to bring on some of our leading fundraising professionals to share how this pandemic has affected their organization and how they're communicating with their donors. And we really feel pretty confident that everyone's going to walk away with something they can use today. So welcome. And again, I want to thank all of our panelists for participating. We drummed this up at the very last minute and they jumped on board and we're happy to participate. We're really excited to have you all. I'm going to introduce you guys. We have Mary McQueen, CFRE, who is the Executive Director of Development for Del Mar College Foundation. I'm trying to follow y'all in order.
Yeah, I'll wave. There we go.
Martha Avery, Vice President of Development for Driscoll Children's Hospital. We have Sherry Bauer, CFRE also, and I'm sorry, Martha Avery is also a CFRE. Sherry Bauer, Executive Director of Mission of Mercy, and then we have Erin Wilder, who is the Executive Director of the American Heart Association. So welcome, ladies. Thank you for coming on board. So the way that we'll do today's format is we have some questions that we think are pretty relevant that we've received, and we will go through the panel. We will ask each panelist to give us their best answer. Panelists, if this question doesn't apply to you or you feel like you don't have something relevant, you can say pass and we'll go on to the next panelist. We're going to take about 5 questions. We're being respectful of time. And at the end, we want to open it up for questions. So you can click on your Q&A button and type us a question, and we will try and cover as many questions as we have time to cover. Could possibly run over a little bit. So for those of you who are able to stay on, if we do have a lot of questions, we will stay on to answer them. And if you can't stay on, or if we run out of time, then we will try and address your questions later. How does that work? So let's get started. Our first question, and we'll start with Mary McQueen. How has this pandemic affected your organization?
Well, I think everyone has kind of had to learn to operate differently, and that's okay. I think as fundraisers, one of the things we do really well is shift with the environment. It's been a massive shift. My entire team works from home. We have weekly meetings. Sometimes we usually have 2 or 3 meetings a day, mostly through some kind of video chat where we update each other, and then there's a lot of texting, there's a lot of phone calls going on. The communication is more challenging, not only with the team, but with the donors and with the students and with the scholarship recipients, you know, all the people that we help. But finding the new ways of doing it, I think we have, like most people, an interesting shift at the beginning, and there were lots of IT issues at the beginning, but we're getting to kind of in the groove, and there are some of us that really love it. Most of us are very relationship oriented, so we're like, oh man, I miss my peeps. So it's been interesting, but we're dealing.
Awesome. Martha, tell us about how it's affected Driscoll.
Well, yes, Driscoll, as y'all know, are still, you know, essential. So our healthcare workers are still here 24/7. We still have, you know, regular patients here in the hospital. We have slowed down and are not doing any elective procedures. So overall, the hospital is much, much, much quieter than normal. It's been a fascinating shift going to more telemedicine. You know, we have been doing, certain clinics have been doing telemedicine, but even our rehab department, I mean, there are children that need to continue their ongoing therapy program. And I had heard they did over 100 telemedicine via conferencing like this, therapy sessions with the different therapists yesterday.
Wow.
So it's fascinating that those shifts with technology today, how that's changing. As far as for our development office, we are under the work at home order. So it's myself coming in, and then I have two staff members that rotate when they come in the office to help with the gift processing and acknowledgments. Because, you know, as we know, fundraising doesn't stop at this time. We have normal gifts coming in, normal grants that were pending that are coming in. We're still hearing from donors. And so we do want to keep that gift processing and acknowledgement process in place. We too have been doing our conference call, having staff meetings via conference calls, and then sent folks home with laptops where they can still access our donor database and Razor's Edge. And it's a great time for stewardship and cultivation, reaching out and talking with donors at this time. So.
Sherry?
Yes, Mission of Mercy has been affected by this like everyone else. And currently our medical center and our Sandia clinic is closed to the public. However, we're still providing as many services as we can to our patients, specifically our prescription assistance programs. So all of our staff are still working. We have one that works from home and 7 that are in the building. We are in our own little corners of the building. So being able to continue to talk to our patients on the phone, process our lab work for our patients, continuing to do as many of those things as we can. We have 2 nurses that are on call 24 hours. So just like everyone else, trying to navigate our new world and, you know, overcoming the obstacles that we need to. We were fortunate that our fundraising event just barely squeaked by on March 6th before things really changed. So we've been, you know, just like the rest of our nonprofits, we miss our volunteers. We miss seeing our patients face to face. I know we expect a big influx of new patients and our current patients with their appointments when we are able to open those doors up again. But we're doing as much as we can via phone and teleconferencing and emails and texting with our patients.
Awesome. Erin, how about you at the American Heart Association?
So yeah, we actually, the American Heart Association nationally had directed all of our employees to work from home on March 17th. And so that has been challenging as far as all of our staff. You know, as for everybody, we've been having bi-weekly, twice a week team meetings that we've started. We were doing Skype, and now we're doing Zoom, and so that's been kind of fun navigating you know, that new reality of Zoom and what that looks like. We've been trying to make it fun because, you know, I'm sure that for you guys, you know, not having that employee interaction has been tough, and so trying to do something fun on each of our employee phone calls that's a kind of icebreaker between all of us, and so that's been good. We did have to postpone some events that we had scheduled. We had a community event that about 450 ladies attend. That's called Vestido Rojo, and that was supposed to be scheduled on March 21st, and we postponed it to June 13th as of now. We also have our Go Red for Women luncheon that was scheduled on May 7th, and that has over 900 attendees. We've moved that to June 4th. You know, depending on what the next couple of weeks, you know, look like, that might very well change. So, you know, I think that we're looking at some options of virtual events. And so I'm excited to see what that looks like. And so I think that being a national organization, we have the opportunity and the availability to be able to see other markets and what's happening in other markets. And so I think that we have that advantage, that anything that I'm able to share with, I'm love to. So thanks.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to our second question. How did you first communicate with your donors and those that you serve, and what was their response? Mary, you want to start?
Well, one of the first things we did was start sending out emails and letting our donors know that we are working from home. We are still checking. I did a video announcement to our donors to say, here's what's happening. And then we posted it on Facebook. We posted it on our website. It's now the intro to our virtual fundraiser. You know, Bernie's Spring Bash is always in the spring. It was supposed to be in April, so we immediately switched that to a virtual, and we texted out all of that. We are starting a Mongoose Candance interactive texting program probably this week or next week. Literally, where we will send out like 1,000 texts to current donors, and then we'll have a team that actually in real time responds to the donors. So they'll say, hey, this is Mary from College Foundation, just checking to see if you're okay, wanting to know if there's anything we can do for you. And literally it'll come back and they'll say, yeah, I need to know about this, 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 and then we can actually respond, just like any interactive text program. That will be, we've already done this student campaigns. This will be our first donor campaign. And then I think we had been ready to send out our donor scholarship donor reports, and now we can't get to the print shop because the campus is closed. So we switched, and we're doing all of those on PDFs, and we're getting ready to send them out via email, and then starting to literally split them up between our development officers, and they'll contact each one of their donors that are in their portfolio, and they'll share the donor report with them. Everybody has, we didn't think of this before we left, so all of our thank you cards were left in the office, and we couldn't get back in the office.
Oh.
So we just ordered and had a whole group of thank you cards and note cards sent to each one of our staff members with a roll of stamps, and said, here, go online, check who's given recently. Everybody send them a thank you note. Nice. And so we're like Martha, we're still processing, but most of our gifts are coming online right now. I mean, we kicked off the Bernie's Spring Bash campaign 3 days ago, and I think we have $20,000 so far. So we're working, we're kind of just working through it. But the donors are very thankful for the communication and the updates.
That's good to hear. That's
right.
really good to hear. Martha, how about you?
Yes. Mary, you need to add me onto your Bernie Spring Bash list. I haven't gotten text on that yet, and I want to.
Oh, that's coming out this week. Okay, Martha.
I haven't heard anything, so put me on that list. And yeah, we started communicating. I'm going to back up about other events that we've had to change and cancel, just like all of y'all have been mentioning. We definitely had a huge campaign that was supposed to kick off April 1st with Stripes, that big Stripes in Store campaign throughout all 380-something stores throughout South Texas. We had already spent thousands of dollars getting all the collateral pieces printed up. They were all due to be shipped out and mailed. And then Stripes, made the decision, rightly so, though, let's postpone this. It might be later in the year. So we had just, stacks and stacks of collateral pieces that thankfully Grunwald's storing for us for free for the time being. And hopefully, depending on how things go, it'll be this summer or even as late in December that they'll do that campaign for us. But spring is a busy time for us. As y'all know, it's traditionally the Miracle Maker season. We have a big employee giving campaign that's in April, but those are all just going to have to be postponed for the time being. Again, we don't want to say we're stopping all fundraising, but obviously some of those normal events and activities have to be postponed. The tricky one for us too is the Miracle Maker stories that KIII TV usually are filming and producing right now for us, and then they would be aired in May. But again, we're kind of on hold. We just can't see. We can't let anyone in the hospital to interview patients. The doctors really aren't available to be doing that. So I'm not sure how that will evolve when we could get that coverage back on KIII TV. And then, of course, our Miracle Day at the ballpark. Who knows when the hooks are going to be, when we'll be able to be back at the hooks field. So we're waiting to see about that as well. But as far as communicating with donors, I think that's the key thing all of us, have to be doing right now. So not only through emails and texts, we haven't done texting like Mary has. That's a great idea. But we do have an email blast that we had started, an eLife newsletter. So we're sending email blasts to everyone whose emails that we have, and trying to share good news, not just on the pandemic, but sharing the good news. I don't know if y'all seen that or not. We had an ambulance that we had fundraised for, and that's come in. We have our new CAT scan that's been installed. So we're trying to share the ongoing good things that are continuing to happen at Driscoll in spite of the pandemic and taking place right now. We've been blessed to have a lot of donors. This might be a question for later. You know, donating food. Am I getting ahead of myself? How the community's helping out. And so we're trying to share those good stories too. Whataburger delivered 100 taquitos this morning for healthcare workers. And getting that out on social media. Hopefully y'all have seen a lot of posts that Driscoll's doing on social media as well. So those are some of the ways we're communicating with donors. I love the note cards to staff at home. I did not send everyone home with the stamps. So I think that's a great idea.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Sherry, how about you?
Well, for Mission of Mercy in the early days when things started to change in early March, we did just kind of the basic stuff of, you know, getting information on our front door, the web page, phone line message, sending out constant contact e-blasts. And so we continue to rely heavily on the social media that has been successful in addition to using the constant contact. In fact, we sent one out yesterday again, trying to update our message, especially like the executive director message of what we're doing and what's going on internally and how we're strategizing. You know, talking about internally how we look at our strategic plan in addition to our development and marketing plan and make sure we're still planning and we're still moving forward and we're really not trying to change too much because just like everyone has been saying, fundraising never ends and they need to see us doing what we need to do. They want to know what's going on. They want to know how we're overcoming these obstacles and still trying to serve our patients or our clients for each of these nonprofits. So we were fortunate enough to have a new video that was just produced that we showed on March 6th at MASH Bash. So we're promoting that, and that really shows everything that we're doing with our programs, our services, our classes, our clinics, in our medical center and our Sandia clinic, how we remain mobile. So really focusing on everything that we're doing, and that particular video has really helped us on social media continue to engage our donors in, hey, we're still here, we're still working, this is what we're doing. So really just educating the donors. It's picking up that phone call, just like Mary and Martha stated that that texting program, you know, we really don't have that technology in place. It would be beneficial, but most of our volunteers and patients are older. And so a lot of them do rely on the snail mail and, you know, some Facebook and things like that. But, you know, we're all learning as we go. And I'm so excited that AFP, you know, thank you to the board members who have put this together. I would encourage everyone out there to read the email that AFP sent out about a week ago about all the resources that are available. If you haven't had a chance to look at each and every one of those links, there are some really good things on how to, you know, talk to your donors with communications and special things regarding your special events. I mean, some really good information AFP is putting out there how we are combating COVID-19.
Thanks, Sherry.
Sure.
Erin, how about you?
So I think that we basically did all of the things that the other ladies were mentioning as far as the multiple emails, communicating that we were working from home, as well as our postponement of our events, phone calls. You know, I think that when you also look at the American Heart Association, knowing that some of the most serious cases of COVID-19 are those that have underlying conditions like heart disease. We are providing so many different tools and resources to different volunteers, to different donors, to different employers, just, you know, that covers the array of effects that you can, you know, imagine that this has on everyone, from stress in the workplace, as well as, you know, dealing with patients, as well as dealing with healthcare workers. And so truly providing those resources to anybody and everybody that needs them, that's been key. I think that one thing that many of us have done from home is writing those written notes, just saying, hey, we're here, we're thinking about you. I think that the lesson learned from all of this is that, you definitely don't want to be that organization that 6 weeks passes and you're knocking on that donor's door and this is the first that they've heard from you. And so making sure that you are front and center, and maybe it's not the same messaging that you had before. And so being more relevant in this time, I think is key to keep in mind.
Awesome. Thanks, Erin. Okay, let's go to our third question. Have you pivoted, and you might have answered this a little bit, but feel free to expand on it. Have you pivoted to alternate plans for fundraising, or decided to halt all fundraising for now to do later, or are you still actively campaigning and fundraising? Mary, you want to start?
We are actively campaigning and fundraising. And so like I said, we've switched Bernie's to an online venue with a messaging, and then we've got a series of things that people can enjoy. So we've got some performances that when they go to the Bernie's page, they can click on a performance and hear a Irish fiddler tune. They can learn some practices from how to work best from home. We've got morning yoga stretch videos. So what we ended up doing is going out to our staff while we still have the time, and got as many videos as we could. And we created an interactive online fundraiser. And then of course there's Ask to Support. So we did not stop. There's a number of us who also went through 9/11. And we were fundraisers during 9/11. And that was probably the biggest challenge for fundraisers. We hadn't had something that catastrophic in the fundraising world. I would say 50% of the fundraising world shut down. They stopped any initiatives they were doing. At the place I was at, my board said, we're not going to do that. That would be disrespectful to fundraise during this terrible, terrible time. Mm-hmm. That was an awful decision. If our messages are important in any day of the week, they're more important now. And one thing about the United States and the philanthropic nature of our culture, we are problem solvers. We are frontiers people. We want to tackle challenges and find a way to make a difference. And if we stop fundraising, then those people who believe first and foremost of the kids that Martha supports, of the people that Sherry supports and need health, of all of the people who have health and heart issues that Erin deals with, all the students that I try to help, then we have denied them the ability to make a difference at a time when we want to be relevant. So don't stop what you're doing. If you were important before, you are more important now. Just pivot. Find a way to do it. You're not going to be able to do everything. Pick what you can do. And make sure you share those stories, because those stories, they are powerful.
Amen.
Good. That was
good job.
Thank you, Mary. That was awesome. How about you, Martha?
Well, that's excellent said, Mary. If our missions and our cases are important, they're still relevant and important today. So yes, Driscoll is still here providing this highly specialized care 24/7. And so same with each of us, all of you out there, your missions are still very viable and important. So I think keeping, your mission in front of folks, as someone else had said, don't go 6 or 7 weeks without folks hearing from you, is very important. And keep those stories. We all can personalize our mission. Keep those stories are very relevant and keep those in front. I think people welcome maybe something other than COVID news right now. Have a break from the onslaught. on the news right now. So keep sharing any positive, good mission-related stories that you can.
Awesome. Sherry?
Yes, totally agree with everything that Mary stated. Everyone is relying on us. We have a job to do. And more so now, the media, as we know, can be our best friend or our worst enemy. But as long as all of the information that's going on locally in our community, in our state and nation, and of course worldwide, this helps feed the pipeline of what we're doing. As long as this need is still in the media, we are going to continue doing everything that we need. For Mission Mercy, of course, we are continuing to work our development and marketing plan to the T. We're fortunate enough, my kind of mentality with fundraising is raise as much money as we can as early as we can. Our fiscal year ends June 30th. So we are well ahead of our revenue budget. So we're very fortunate. I mean, we were so blessed to be able to complete MASH Bash and exceed all the goals on that. But, you know, everything that we're doing, we're still moving forward. Now is a time for everyone to get very creative with technology. You know, Mary gave some great examples with the yoga and things like that. So yes, we let everyone down if we stop fundraising. This is our job. We signed up for it. I know for Mission of Mercy, we're gearing toward the flood of patients that the second we are able to get the green light and open our doors again to see patients face to face, we are going to be bombarded. So having that strategic plan in place prior to, you know, regarding resources and people and volunteers, and something as simple, you know, as having your masks and your hand sanitizers and all the things that we need in the medical center. But it is a good time to re-engage with your donors and your volunteers and just get very creative if you can.
Erin?
Yeah, I don't know that I can say anything that the other ladies haven't already said. I think that just it's so important to realize that that all of our missions, I mean, are big missions to fund, and still, you know, that. I love it. I had to sneak away because because my 3 coworkers that are my dogs were asking to go out on a break, and so I had to sneak off to go let them out. And so these are the challenges and the excitements of virtual meetings. And so yeah, I don't, like I said, you know, I think that we all have big missions that are not going to stop because of COVID-19. And so we have those missions to fund that still are going to be there, that still are there while COVID-19 is going on. They're going to be there after. And so we still need those funds to fund those missions. And so I think that we need to not be afraid, because we believe in our missions, we have passion for our missions, and so we need to not be afraid to go and still continue to fund those you know, much needed missions. And so I think that while there's going to definitely be companies that now might not be the exact time that you're going to go and ask for, you know, $20,000 or something like that. I think that there's different ways to pivot, like they've said, and that needs to happen. But you know, at the end of the day, the missions still need to be funded. So
True that. True that. Some of these questions kind of overlap a little bit, but I do want to ask this one, and if you feel like you've already addressed it, you can elaborate or pass it on. Number 4, this question is, what are you communicating to your donors right now? Like, what's the message and what's the strategy? And are you asking them for gifts? So it's a little bit of a repetitive question, but if you want to expand on it a little bit or pass, you can. Mary?
Well, why don't we let Erin go first?
Okay.
And then, so let's go the other way.
Okay. Erin?
unmute myself. And so, yeah, I think that we've already kind of answered that. We've been providing the resources and tools that that everyone needs. We have not. I think that there was probably a short period of time where we just kind of put a halt on things, and I don't know how everybody else will say, but I feel like that it was trying to figure out, okay, this new normal of what this looks like. I think that there were still opportunities to be able to ask our donors for gifts, and I mean that definitely has happened. We just have we have pivoted the way that we've been asking, and so we might not be asking for a table sponsorship, but we might be asking for a community impact sponsorship. So looking at things a little bit differently.
Awesome. I'm going to go backwards to this. So Sherry?
Yes, of course, we are asking our supporters to consider a gift online, by call, by email, any of those normal ways. But also, one of the things that we're kind of focusing on is asking our donors to consider donating partial or all of their stimulus government issued checks. Some donors, have that need, but that is a fabulous way for donors to donate to their nonprofits. As I've stated in social media, I'm really concerned about our local nonprofits. How are they going to survive? Many of them struggled prior to this, and many of them are going to come out of this and not be there or have such an impact. But I think that's an excellent way for anyone, doesn't matter what your income level is, to give a portion or all of your stimulus checks.
Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you. Martha?
Yes, I think as we've addressed that we're doing the normal ask, but obviously some of the campaigns that we had coming up have had to be postponed or pushed out a little bit. But I think communication is the key. And communicating, I mean, it is a challenging time for all of us. Everyone's facing this with a different set of emotions and perspectives. So just making your communication relative to what's going on, but still very mission driven, mission focused, and trying to share those positive stories about your organization and mission, I think, are very important. So,
Mary?
A lot of our focus has switched to emergency assistance for students. So that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that kind of, it feeds into where challenges are for our constituency. What do we need to do for them? So our fundraising is based around that. Our fundraising for the Bernie's event, which is now virtual, is based on that. We reached out immediately to all of our sponsors for Bernie's and asked if they would switch their sponsorship to the virtual sponsorship. And I would say a good 60% of them did that and said, you use it however you want, we'll be there. So they are sponsoring our virtual fundraiser. In addition, because we knew, I mean, we had been switching away from special events anyway. So we really focused more on the face-to-face, which of course is now really challenging. But we were, let's say one-on-one. So we were focused on that. So there is one thing out there that I think anyone can use, and it's called Thank View.
Yes.
It's a video that you can use. You can get 100 of them for free, folks. And so we've started using that and basically saying, hey guys, and it's a one-on-one video, short, 1 minute, 2 minutes. You're talking specifically to that donor, and you can load up a series of messages, have a link, and it can be a soft ask. Here's what's going on at Del Mar College. Here's where the challenges are with our students. Here's what we're raising money for right now. We know this is a challenging time for you, but if it looks like that now is a good time for you to help these students, we want to make sure we give you that opportunity. And by the way, here's the update on what Del Mar College and Del Mar College Foundation is doing. So Thank View, take a look at it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you is awesome. That's awesome.
Amy,
Yes.
this is Veronica.
Hi, Veronica.
I just wanted to remind you that there are a couple of questions in the Q&A. Do you have access to that at the bottom?
I do. Let me
Okay.
check real quick. Oops. Okay. I can see it. So let me, the last question, number 5, was what have you found to be the most effective means of reaching your donors through this? I think we've all shared that. I think you all have shared that. So if you don't mind, I want to jump to the questions that we have from our audience. There's 2 questions right now. One of the questions is, are any of you pushing certain campaigns within your areas? For example, I am pushing our general fund, but also our School of Math and Science for the PPE masks that they are making, just seeing what the consensus is down there.
I think I kind of shared on mine that we're really focusing on the emergency assistance to help students stay in school. And by the way, that particular campaign, we actually got a list of all the students who were getting ready to graduate this spring. And we reached that first wave out to those students. That was that first interactive texting campaign. We said, hey, we know you're getting ready to graduate. We want to make this available to you. And we said, here, what do you need? And here's the link for you. And it was an invitation only application. So if you didn't have that link, it couldn't apply. And that allowed us to make sure we're only addressing those students that needed to graduate now. We want to get them graduated. The other is making sure that our healthcare professionals, those are closest to graduating, our nurses, our respiratory techs, those kinds of things, focusing on those groups that Martha's going to need in the hospital, you know, that Sherry is going to need, making sure those get graduated first. And that was an interactive texting campaign. Just so you know, we sent that interactive texting campaign out to over about 700 students. The open rate was 18%.
Great.
Do you know that the open rate for the national open rate for email is 3%? That's 18%. That's because our students are on their phones.
Right.
They're not checking their emails.
Right.
Now, I'll get back to you as to how it went with the donors, because we're getting ready to do the same type of interactive texting campaign with donors. And this platform that we're using gives us wonderful metrics so that we can see how well it's working. We've done 2 campaigns. The average for both campaigns right now has been 18% open rate. And from that, that's effective. About 75 to 95% of all the responses are in the first 2 hours, which is, I think that goes to how compelling it is for that particular communication stream. I think I went off text, but.
No, you're good. Martha?
If I understood the question right, I liked the campaign or focusing, making it relevant. So if they need funds to help support the masks that are being made, I think that's a brilliant thing to do. You make your campaigns relevant to our current situation. And that's part of being creative and responsive. So I applaud whoever asked that question.
Sherry?
For us, we're focusing primarily on our prescription assistance programs, working with our donors specifically for insulin. That's probably the #1 medication we currently need for our patients. So really trying to secure funding for that. Because we're really concerned about our current patients who are the working poor. They have jobs, they just don't make enough money for their insurance and much less their medication. So many of them are losing their jobs. So now their money really is tight regarding food and gas and whatever they need for their families. So then they really are pushing the need to spend the money on their medication. So we're really looking at specific programs for our funders to really help us fund those key medications our patients need.
Awesome. And Erin?
We do not have at this time any campaigns that we are truly focusing on, but there's opportunities that we're looking at to be able to, when like I said, we have other markets that we're able to see, San Antonio and Austin and different things that they are doing. And I think when the time comes, there's different opportunities that we'll focus on.
Awesome. The other question that, and hi, Gary. The other question that we got was, what texting app do you use, Mary?
It's called it's called Mongoose Candace, CANDENCE. It's about $8,000 a year, which if you look at that being a communication tool, that's not all that bad. We've only done 3 campaigns with it so far. We've been eminently pleased. Our next campaign is actually a fundraiser. So it's Mongoose Candace. And I will say that we also switched all of our, when you do that, you're obviously moving them to your website and your online giving. So you need to make sure that's working well for you too. We moved to Classy for our online giving, which really allows us to share the messaging well. So it's not just asking, it is, here's the issues, here's what what we're trying to do. So those two, I think, are working very well for us.
Does anyone else, Martha, Sherry, or Erin, do you all have a texting application that you use?
We do not at this time. And we're using Constant Comment, which I believe Sherry mentioned earlier for us for our email communications.
Erin, you? No?
No.
Okay, and I've got another question. How do each of you balance work life during this time when a majority of the time is at home and then can be a blur, especially with the urgency of the times? How are you balancing work right now? Mary, I'll start with you.
That's really been a tough one. It probably took me a couple of weeks to really get into it. I am so comfortable coming into work and having all my tools here and having to set up at home, and I work on my kitchen table, which means my husband is like, he can't come into the kitchen, when I've got all these video chats going on. It's a challenge. It is a challenge, but I think some people find it works best to set certain hours.
Yeah.
I find it best to set certain goals, certain daily goals. Here's what I want to accomplish today. Here's not how many hours I want to work. Here's the project I want to get done today. Here's the number of donors I want to talk to today. Here's the messages I need to craft today. That's what works best for me.
That's called working smarter, not harder.
I hope.
Martha, how about you? How are you doing transitioning?
I feel a little out of the loop because I'm getting to come in every day still. I'm expected to, and I'm having a unique experience without all the normal interruptions and without all the normal activities and that I'm getting to focus being proactive on some long-term projects that I really hadn't had some uninterrupted time to focus on. So I'm really taking advantage, I think, of this time to shift gears and focus on some, like I say, some long-term projects that I've been wanting to get to. So that's another good use of time since our normal routines have been interrupted, or there are some things that have been laying around that could use your attention now. So that's the way I'm making the most of it.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Sherry, how about you?
I come into the office every day and I leave at 1. So when I go home, I work from home and I have my laptop up all day long. So it might be 8 o'clock at night. I got to go respond to an email or something. I'm fortunate. I don't have young kids that I have to, homeschool. I've got 2 furry puppies and they just need their treats and toys, but for the most part, the same as these other ladies, taking advantage of the quiet time, working on catching up, just planning, the strategizing, just business as usual. But I do want to come into the office every day. I manage the building, I've got staff here in the building every day. So, those processes and procedures continue to go, but I love being here. We just miss our volunteers and all the other things that we do on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Erin, how are you adjusting?
It's lonely. I'll have to say, I have to be very, very, I think that we all had it in our mind that, oh, working from home would be nice. And, that kind of, I hate it. It's awful. It's, I'll tell everybody really quick. I have been practicing social distancing, but I've been going to HEB every other day. For what? I have no idea. I hate the grocery store, but I've been having conversations with random people that, they're having their mask on, so we're keeping our distance and everything. But my husband asked me why I've been gone so long from the grocery store, and it's because I've been having these conversations with these random people because I'm not having that human interaction. And so this is difficult for me. I think that that I've been trying to keep the set hours, because I am one of those that will just keep on going and be on my computer until 8 o'clock. And so I've been trying to, be on my computer at 8:30 and then working until 5, just because it's, like I said, I would continue. And so I think that you have to set boundaries and making sure that you're getting all of those goals. Of course, I'm putting my to-do list in place every day and making sure that I'm having those touch points with donors and volunteers that I need to. But this is challenging. This is, I feel for people that I think that for the introverts, which most fundraisers probably are not, I think that the extroverts, I think that we need to be looking out for each other, because this is not good times for us. It's bad. So
maybe we need to pivot our AFP mixer happy hour to a virtual event instead of postponing so long, because it is nice to connect, even though we're connecting on Zoom. It has been difficult, I think, for everyone, even if you've worked from home before. I think it's just a difficult situation. I have one more question. I don't see any more Q&As in here, but I have another question. And again, you can pass on it if it's not relevant, but share a success story with us. What's a small victory that you've experienced, whether it's with a donor or with transitioning to your new procedures or discovering a new niche to concentrate on for your organization? What is one small victory that you're proud of that you've been able to identify through all this? Mary?
Honestly, I think the biggest victory for me was seeing how well my team kept on task. And I think that's part of because they're a great team. They are an incredible team. And Matthew Busby is a wonderful leader for that team. So he's been out there, he calls them every day, he sets up all these meetings, he has the attaboys. We're in constant contact, not that platform, but just we're constantly contacting one another with here's what's going on and the updates. And for a while, I wasn't, because I didn't want to put my makeup on, so I didn't, put the video on. And I realized how much I loved seeing their faces, and that it wasn't fair if on, then just suck it up, girlfriend, and be on the line anyway, because it's so important. Your people, our mission is incredible, but we don't do our mission without our people. Mm-hmm. And that's been, I think, the most wonderful part of all of this, seeing how ready they are to address whatever challenges we're dealing with. And technology's been a big one, and just overcome for our students and for this community.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Martha, how about you?
I would reiterate that as well. I have been so impressed with how well my staff has adapted, but I like the creative ideas that are coming out. I think, again, the change of environment, the change out of our normal routine can spark some creativity and new ways to look at things. And so they've come up with some wonderful ideas to reach donors during communication. So I've really appreciated that. And to me, that's been a success story. I've also enjoyed the interactions internally with our hospital team. They're just a very selfless group here. And the way that our team at Driscoll has come together, they have a special leadership team on COVID. We're communicating daily, that we get daily communications on the status of a hospital. And we're actually, that's another piece of communication then that we share with our board members and key folks as well, what's happening daily here. And then one other success story, I've enjoyed the donors. You know, we've had several companies that have donated some of the PPE, the masks and the gowns that are needed. And what it's been really an intimate, nice connection with some of these donors that are truly giving out a deep concern and deep care for our community. So I think it's allowed for some real deep connection there with some donors that have given in kind recently.
Sherry?
I would have to say the same regarding our staff and our dedicated nurses. Being the executive director, you know, you have this fine line of keeping your staff and volunteers and even the patients safe versus the strong desire and need for all of the staff to want to come in and work, even if they have to be in one corner of the building and wear masks and gloves and everything. And it's just, you know, I'm allowing the staff to make some of those decisions because I don't want to stifle their creativity, their success. And so that camaraderie and just the funny interactions and the closeness that at least we can have with our staff when we're working here in the building. You know, we're missing, like Erin said, you know, us extroverts, we can't even hug people, you know, anymore. I can't stand that. You know, it's just, you want to, you know, do some of the things that we're used to doing. We definitely live in a different world now. So I'm very proud of the staff and their dedication of the nurses. They're on call 24 hours. And when we get into work, we have 65 calls that we have to make, and just everyone has their piece of the puzzle to keep our mission moving forward. And it is reflecting in the comments that are being made from our donors. We received one yesterday. I was talking with one of a major donor, and this person said, "It was so good to talk to you, and even under the COVID-19 pandemic, you and your staff are hardworking and persevering. Your can-do attitude and spirit is amazing." So for yesterday, that was kind of my thank you. You know, we know the dedication that our even our limited physicians that are coming in, you know, the care they're continuing to provide, and healing through love, and that means healing through God's love. We love what we do here, but man, we have some amazing members and volunteers, as do each and every one of you in your organizations.
Erin?
So as I said, we are having virtual calls twice a week with the staff, and I think that as everybody said, it's important to celebrate the small wins. And so whether it's that you got a response back, you know, from a donor on an email, and or it's, you know, a call back from a volunteer or a donor. And so I think that just you know, it's not, it might be a different story as far as it might not be a $20,000 check or something like that, but celebrating those smaller wins. So, you know, pivoting in where we are and to a different story. And I think that the biggest thing that being able to control everything that you can control, because, you know, there's so many things out there that are unknowns and that are out of our control, that I think that it's definitely important to just celebrate the small wins and be able to control what you can control.
Agreed. Agreed, big time. I think that's it. thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I know you're all very busy and it's a stressful situation right now. We really appreciate everything you shared today, and everyone who's here, we can't see you, but we're so glad you joined us. And I'm pretty confident that you're going to walk away with some information you can use. I hope you all continue to celebrate your small victories. And we're very excited that we were able to shift our program. I guess pivot's the word, right? Pivot's the big word right now.
Yeah.
That we were able to pivot from hosting a live program to coming to you online. And we hope to have some more for you real soon. We hope you'll join us. And if you have not read that email that we sent out earlier, the one that Sherry was referring to, it has a wealth of information. It has links to webinars, links to all sorts of resources for you. And I think that you should really go back and find that email and look at it. If you can't find it, feel free to reach out and we'll resend it to you. But be on the lookout for some more emails from us. We hope to bring you a new program soon. Hope you all have a blessed week and a blessed Easter. And thanks again to everyone, to our panelists, and thank you to our attendees. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Amy, for